Hello everyone. Welcome back to the session with 360DigiTMG. Yesterday we have spoken about the generative AI, a cool technology that goes beyond copying to make its own art, music and stories. We have also discussed about some of the key ethical considerations that needs to be there for generative AI, like data bias mitigation. We have spoken about the data bias mitigation and the privacy and the consent, the human AI collaboration, the transparency. So these are the some of the ethical considerations that needs to be there when we are working with generative AI. So these points needs to be remembered by everyone when working with this application. So as part of it, we also discussed about some virtual way of interacting when we are trying to give a prompt, how the music is being generated, how different images is being generated. So we also spoke about the different impact of this generative AI, where we spoke about the personalized medicines, the climate changes solutions, the education tutor, how is it helping an individual to cope up with the education sector. So these all are trying to navigate the interaction between the human and the machine. It is trying to make sure that a force for the good and amplifying the human creativity for the brighter future. So together we are set to explore one of the most captivating domain of generative AI. So the mysteries and the unlock the potential of generative AI applications. So let's move towards it. So we know that the generative AI is like a creative powerhouse in the tech world. Imagine it as a super smart artist or a musician. But instead of just one skill, it can create all sort of things like text, code, images, and even the music. So the what is cool about this is when we are trying to work on a traditional manners, different models. So what happens there? We find different images, right? So let us consider this as a group of images. So we know that each image has a different labels. So as part of this, we are trying to perform some training using some discriminative models. These are nothing but some regular models. So we try to predict based on some accuracy. We get some probability associated with it. So this is how a regular model works. Then what is different in this generative models? In this generative models, even here we have set of images here, some data. So here we are trying to train a model based on the generative models. What happens here is it is trying to sample the images. How? We know that each image consists of different pixels, right? So when we are trying to sample, it tries to consider each pixel value from the image and add some random noise to it. That is trying to create a different image that is unique from the previous one. Some unique images gets created. What is happening here? We are working on the past data and trying to sample the pixel values where we are trying to add some random noise to it, that is trying to create a unique image based on the past data, the trained data. This is something where the application of the generative AI works. So that is making it more popular, where we are trying to use it in arts and designs, the music compositions, the healthcare diagnosis, and the demand forecasting. Whatnot, in every field, this is being helpful. So let's break down this creative applications in this generative AI. It is trying to be useful for art and music generation. Yesterday we have seen, right? In a maker video, here, music gen. I have just given a prompt for it and you'll have seen that a music node is being generated. Similarly, when I'm trying to make use of maker video, this is something which is used, right? So just I'm giving a prompt for it and you can see a video is being generated based on it, adding some kind of effects, visualizations, and some creativity is being added here. And we have also seen that crayon, where what am I giving here? I have just given a prompt. So it automatically generated different images related to that prompt. This is how the generative AI is being helpful for most of us. So then how is it being useful for the art and music generation? Using this generative AI, we are trying to create some unique visuals that can be used in various websites, marketing materials, book covers, or even some required images. Even it is being helpful like for employing AI to fix damaged photos and to add colors to the black and white images, or even enhance the quality of low resolution visuals. And it is also being used as a personalized music recommendations. This generative AI can be helpful for creating the playlists or a soundtracks that adapt to your mood, activities, or personal preferences. And sound design and scoring, it is using to compose the original soundtracks for films, video games, or other multimedia projects. The music education and exploration, AI-powered experiences that facilitate learning about various musical styles, instruments, and techniques in an engaging and interactive manner. So it is also giving accessibility aids for musicians with disabilities. Developing AI tools that make it easier for musicians with disabilities to create and perform music, enhancing the accessibility in the musical domain. So this generative AI is open up exciting possibilities in the creative world. It is trying to give us different tools and solutions that goes beyond the traditional methods. It could be either in art, music, more personalized and accessible, which is more innovative. So we have a visualizing anything. This DALI 2 and Imagine Craft, it is trying to generate some photorealistic arts from your wildest text descriptions. So for what are these useful for? It is useful for product images. It is trying to use for the virtual reality and augmented reality applications. So in 2021, a new generative AI model was introduced in this field by OpenAI. When is this introduced? It is introduced in 2021 by OpenAI. That is nothing but DALI. So like how you all are using the chat GPTs, in the similar way, if you try to give some prompt to it, it is trying to generate images related to the particular prompt. So have you ever dreamt of creating some surreal or dreamlike visuals that push the boundaries of the art? But it is not just about the visuals, right? So we are trying to move forward with some musical instruments. This is nothing but your jukebox. It is here to compose the original tunes in various genres, either by mimicking the styles of the legendary musicians or inventing the entirely new sonic landscape. So the generative AI is being useful for arts, music, and videos also. So here is a live example where DALL-E 2 is trying to create a photorealistic image of a teddy bear mixing. Here you can see the image which is generated by DALL-E 2. Just by giving a prompt of this, it is generating accordingly. Something cool, right? So here even we have another example of Dream Studio. Let me take you all there. Here you can see this is how the Dream Studio appears. Here I can change my prompt to robot floating to in space. Just I'm trying to give a prompt here and trying to click dream. Here you can see my prompt is there and you can see the images that is being generated. And these are some of the customizations that I can use. So here there is something called as 4, right? I asked it to generate the image count as 4. So you see, according to the prompt that I have given, the images are generated accordingly. So these are some of the images and you can try to explore them. You can give different prompts of your imagination and you can get the images related to it. This is how the generative AI is being helpful for us by bringing our thoughts and imaginations to life. So apart from this, we also have a audiogen. So where we are trying to create similar kind of notes, sound generations is being happening here. So this is something cool, right? A powerful AI sound generator at your fingertips. This incredible tool is trying to change the game in the audio creations, offering a whole new world of possibilities. Now you can easily generate a sound effects from an energetic bark of a dog to the attention grabbing way. So with using this, we are trying to get a different notes, different audios or images according to our choice. So like that, we have different OpenAIs like DALL-E, text to videos, like make a video we have seen, right? Where we are trying to give a text and the video is being generated. In the similar way, we also have something called as a Dream Fusion or Magic 3D that is trying to convert your text or a prompt to a 3D visualizations. So some of them were free and some of them were licensed. You can explore them accordingly for your choice. So let's now talk about the artificial intelligence, which can be a creative companion in the world of writing and poetry. So imagine you are stuck on somewhere when you are trying to write a story or a poem, right? You are stuck at some point. The AI has you back. It can provide you with story starters, creating an interesting characters, and even it is trying to outline the entire plots. It's like having a virtual brainstorming buddy to kickstart your imagination. Even when you're trying to write blogs, some codes, or some when you're trying to compose some verses for your poem, AI can also help you with that tool. It tries to suggest some rhymes, schemes, bringing in imaginary, and can even generate the entire verses. Now let's talk about building worlds from your stories. AI can bring up some realistic details about geography, cultures, history, and making you fictional world. Whatever comes out of your imagination, you can try to create stories out of it. Write stories, poetries, whatnot, from everything from your imagination. So they are a cool tools like Bard, GPTs, some Jaspers. These are some of the tools where you can try to write. It is like a writing companion which is ready to help you explore new storytelling dimensions and collaborate with you on a creative adventures. So here are some of the real world examples of how AI, specifically GPT-3, has been creatively utilized. Here you can see a book, right? What is the name of the book? The Road. If you look here, who can you see the co-writer as? It is the human author Ross Godwin and GPT-3. It was published in 2022. And there is another implementation of this AI to create a poet. This is trying to demonstrate how AI can be used to enhance the interactive and dynamic aspect of artistic creations. And you can see one more live example where GPT-3 is being used. So all these examples I can see, there is a good collaboration that is highlighting the potential of AI in shaping the unique literacy works that blend human expertises with machine generated content. And you can see one more example here. Here also the Jasper has been used. So even this Jasper has been used to employ in the drafting poems and short stories. These applications showcases how AI can be a versatile tool for content creations, catering to different genres and platforms. These examples are trying to illustrate us the real world impact of AI, particularly GPT-3, in collaborating with the humans to produce diverse and engaging forms of creative expressions. So now let's talk about how AI is making a big impact in the business and marketing world. Imagine you have a ton of work to do when you are working in a business. You need to blog posts, some articles, some social media updates, product description, ads. There will be multiple works that you have to deal with. When we are working with AI, specifically generative AI, it can be helpful for us to make these works or tasks easier in a more effective way. So when we are working with the marketing content creation, the blog posts and the articles, so the AI can generate the high quality search engine friendly content on a wide range of topics. This means you can save a lot of time and energy on research and writings. And social media posts, how to keep the followers engaged on social media. AI can create interesting and catchy content that matches your brand voice and styles. It's like having your own virtual social media assistant. The content, ideation, and the brainstorming. Have you ever been stuck at some particular idea when you're trying to come up with a new idea? We get stuck up. But we have AI here. AI can help you to bring through some writing blocks by suggesting some fresh and creative content ideas. It's like having a brainstorming buddy at your fingertips. Product descriptions and ad copies. When you're selling a product, what happens? You want your descriptions and ads to be attention grabbing. AI assists to craft some compelling product descriptions and it tries to be in an effective way to deliver them. And you have something called as a create visuals. So AI can also produce some images as we have seen, even the videos, which is trying to enhance your marketing materials. So generative AI is like helping you to write and create some business perspective, making marketing tasks more manageable and effective. So we have something called as Jasper, Copy AI, Write Sonic. All these are being useful to create some content for it related to your websites or engaging emails or blog posts. All these websites are being helpful for you all to make your work in an effective and an easy manner. So let's go into your real world examples. So let me tell you some of the companies that are using these tools for the betterment of their business perspective. So we have something called as a Fract. This digital agency is using something tool called as a Jasper to create a blog post. And you know what? It became a super popular and got more than 1 million views. And we have this company tells that a stuff online like beer products uses a tool called copy.ai. It is trying to help them to write things for the social media and descriptions for their products. So something cool, right? Which is making them in a prospective manner at the same time, easy to handle it. And they are big companies that does marketing softwares also. They use a tool called Write Sonic to make cool web pages and email campaigns. It's like a shortcut to make things look and sound awesome. HubSpot. And you know what? Even Google is on it. They are trying out a tool called Lambda to make their research results more interesting and informative. So when you are searching for something on Google, this tool helps to make the results better and more engaging. So these companies are using a special computer software or the programs to make the online stuff better, whether it's writing, marketing, or even improving how we search for things. It's like having a digital helper to make things awesome on the internet. Now let's talk about the product designs and prototyping in the way that's making it more easier to understand. So you are designing a cool new product, just imagine, like a fancy phone or a stylish shoe. In the traditional way, it might take long time to draw, color, different versions to see it. But with special computer tools and something called as a generative AI, things get exciting. Virtualizing the unseen. You can quickly create some sketches of your product shapes, colors, and textures. It's like making a detailed outline of what the product looks like. Helps you to create like a super creative without any delay. Experimenting with variations. You can change the materials, features, or how everything is laid out to find the absolute best version of your product. Rapid prototyping. How the digital drawings are happening. How are you turning them into your 3D models? All these can be done by the generative AI. Personalization at scale. Imagine if each person can have a slightly different version of the product that they love. With these tools, you can make it more personalized version based on the people preferences. How can they work on it? Some personalization and customization is being happening. So by making use of the generative AI, some algorithms, it is trying to give you some customized products with slight variations according to the individual preferences. This is trying to make the diverse market. So the product designs and the prototyping with these technologies make designing and creating awesome stuff much faster, more personalized, and even smarter. So these are some of the product designs and prototyping. So now let's talk about some cool stuff in the world of AI and how it can be used in designing the products. Imagine if you are trying to create a new product like a fancy chair or a super sleek race car. Now, instead of just drawing the pictures or making models, you can use AI to help up to come up with some awesome designs. So we have some AI models for product designing and prototyping. You can see the Grand Reader, right? This AI tool is like a magic image maker. It can create all kinds of textures, materials, and backgrounds that we can use to design some new products. It's like having a super creative assistant that helps us to visual part of our creations. And we have something called as a NVIDIA canvas. If you're not that good at drawing, no worries. NVIDIA Craft can turn your simple sketches into your realistic landscapes. This is like a super handy for designers who wants to make their product look real before actual making them. And we also have a Autodesk Dreamcatcher. This one is like a super smart design helper. It uses the generative designs, which makes it to try a lot of different design operations and options to find the best one. It's like having a brainstorming partner that ready or really understanding what we want to design. So here, let me show with this. Here you can see this is something with Imagine, right? Here you can see some text is being given and the images are being created automatically. See the dog looking curiously in the mirror. These are some of the prompts that are being given there. And the images is being generated automatically. Like we have spoken about NVIDIA Canvas, right? This is how the web page appears. So as you scroll down, you can understand how it is trying to work out with the images. This is something like a drawn, simple, like how kids draw, right? In the similar way, you can see and realistic image is being generated. See, it is trying to work on different pixels using different palette of colors. Some customization is being happening on your image. And it is trying to look into it and identifying what could be the image according to the prompt that we are giving, according to the image that we are giving. That is how the customization is being happening. So we can make use of these canvas. You can see, right, Dream Studios we have spoken, Imagine we have shown, and Crayon where it is trying to take the prompt and giving us the images, the music. All these are some of the applications where the generative AI is being used. And even a maker video where we are trying to give pictures and it is trying to generate. So these are some of the cool stuff I can say. So even the real world examples where we are trying to create a 3D picture race cars. The Airbus is used to generate designs to optimize the design of the aircraft. And you can see IKEA is using a generative designs to create a personalized chairs. These chairs that can be customized to fit individual body shapes. That is how the generative AI is helping to in an innovative and a personalized manner where a company, the organization can use for the benefit purpose in a innovative thinking. So if you are trying to think of it, that generative AI can be used only for generating of arts and music. No, it can also be used in the healthcare and science also. How AI is transforming a drug discovery. This is how we discuss. So here you can see a novel drug target AI is helping us to scientifically analyze the large set of the biological data to find some targets for the new medicines. This speeds up the search for the treatments, right? Similarly, predicting the drug target interaction. AI assists in designing the drugs that precisely target a specific area in your body, reducing the side effects and making the treatment more effective. It is also being used like a personalization of the medicine. It is trying to enable the creation of custom treatments for individuals based on their unique genetic and biological characteristic. Repurposing existing drugs. AI is trying to discover new uses for a medicine that is already existing. It is trying to give a fresh perspective on how to use them and expanding their effectiveness. Accelerating the clinical trials. AI is trying to help to design more effective and targeted clinic trials. This means that the testing phase for a new drug is becoming quicker, bringing potential life-saving medicines to patients faster. Predicting drug properties. It is also trying to look into the safety and the effectiveness and deliverability of the potential drugs before the expensive real-world experiments. This helps in making the informed decisions about which drugs are worth purposing for. There is an important note to be remembered here. AI is just a powerful tool, but it does not replace the expertise of the human scientist. Ethical considerations should be there, especially regarding the drug safety and accessibility are crucial. AI is a partner to scientists working together to unlock a healthier world, but in accessing with the AI, it's like helping hands to scientists in the field of drug discovery, making the process faster, more efficient, and tailored. But the ethical consideration should be followed, like bias and these things, right? We already spoke about in the previous session. These all should be maintained. So, when you're trying to imagine the world, the drug discovery, like challenging the puzzles, and guess what? AI is helping us to solve it using the three cool techniques. What are they? RL, which is nothing but a reinforcement learning. VAE, variational autoencoders, and GANs, which is nothing but generative adversarial networks. So this reinforcement learning is trying to train a computer to make decisions. Whereas this VAEs, it is trying to act like a artistic robots. They learn to represent the things in a creative manner. So let me look into the real world examples of it. In silico medicine used these AI techniques to find a new target for a disease called ALS, myotrophic lateral sclerosis. It is something related to a nervous system disease that weakens the muscles. So this generative AI helped us to get a drug within 18 months. It's like they have discovered a new piece of a puzzle for ALS and even designed a potential new drug to tackle it. So AI is not just about robots and games. It's also helping us to discover the new medicine and making the world a healthier place. So the concept of predictive modeling in healthcare, let me simplify it for you. So we know that the predictive risk models, think of it like a super smart health detective. It looks at a medical history and genetics, lifestyles, and it is trying to figure out how high the risk can be taken when you are prone to some disease. So the doctors can step in early to stop the disease before it ever starts. Medical imaging analysis. This AI is trying to look into the X-rays and CT scans. So it is trying to help us to find the first clues of diseases like cancers. So like it can help the doctors to start treating you as soon as possible before it is ahead of time. And it is also useful for the treatment responsible predictions. It is like a fortune teller for medicine. It predicts how your body will react to your different treatments so that the doctor can choose the best treatment that works for you without causing too many problems for you. In the similar way, we have the hospital remunerations predictions, along with it, the resource allocations and the planning. The public health surveillance. This is like a superhero kind of thing, like how we watch our dangerous germs spreading. This AI is helping to keep track of the diseases and stop them from becoming a big problem for a human needs. So these smart computer programs are trying to help the doctors and health experts to take care of you, each and everyone. So for making a better health for individual. So they use the data and patterns to predict and prevent health issues before they become too serious for any individual. So we know that the generative AI models for predictive healthcare. So as I say, we make use of GANs, generative adversarial networks. So if you are a doctor, you need a lot of different patients' data to teach a computer, right? How to make predictions about the health. Sometimes it is very hard to get a patient's data because it might be private or it may not be enough. So we make use of these GANs to create some fake but realistic medical data. Similarly, we can use of these GANs to generate some lifelike medical images that helps in diagnosing the illness and planning the treatment. This is how the GANs are being useful. Then what about this VAEs, variational autoencoders? It is like detecting for the medical data. They look at lot of complex information about the person's health and try to find the patterns. These patterns are trying to help to predict the disease and understanding the risk where someone might have. So they are trying to suggest a personalized treatment plans based on the patterns they are finding in the whatever research that they are happening. The transformer models. These are trying to read and understand lot of text data like clinical notes and patient records. These models help the doctors to provide insights into diagnosing the illness, predicting how a disease might progress, and suggesting the treatments. So they make it easier for healthcare professionals to get valuable information from the vast amount of text they deal with them in a daily life. So these are some of the cool examples. So let me go into the real world examples. So imagine a special computer program created by the scientists at Stanford University. This program is so smart that it can look at a picture of a skin and figure out if there might be a cancer with an accuracy of 91%. It's like having a computer assistant that's almost as good as human skin doctors, dermatologists, at recognizing the signs of a skin cancer. This can be really helpful for identifying the potential skin issues early. And it is also being useful for Google AI designers, where they're trying to identify and analyze the pictures of the brains and predict how Alzheimer's disease, this is something like a memory loss disease, this disease is something, So it's like having a digital tool that helps the doctors to see into the future of this memory loss issue and allowing them to start helping the people as soon as possible. This early prediction can make a big difference in treating a disease and improving the quality of life for those affected. In simple terms, to explain, these examples show how smart the computer programs created by the scientists can assist a doctor in spotting a skin cancer or the diseases related to the memory loss. It's like having a human experts to catch some health problems early and provide in a better care. So we also spoke about some ethical considerations and challenges. So the bias and the fairness. The AI might be unintentionally favor some certain group of people. For example, it might be more likely to improve loans for a one group, but not for the others. So these discriminations should be avoided when you are working with this generative AI model. This biased behavior can lead to unfair treatment. It's like if your AI was unfairly helping some people and unfairly holding others back in different situations, like loans or jobs, reinforcing stereotypes. The AI could also end up making existing inequalities in society even worse. It might learn from the data it's given, and if the data has biases, then AI could end up reinforcing the harmfulness for the certain group of people. So these could be some of the biases or the ethical considerations that can affect the organization. So we need to be careful with the AI to make sure if the treatment is being fairly or not, so that it can help the people to trust on it. So there are some other real world examples where this generative AI is being useful. Facial recognition technology. What if a facial recognition technology like AI to identify a person or verify whether the person is having the same facial features or not? Sometimes if these algorithms are biased, it is trying to not give an equal treatment to everyone. It can lead to mistakes in identifying the individuals and tend to affect the specific group of people more than the others. Automated hiring tools. This can create a disadvantage for some job applicants as the tool may unintentionally perspect existing bias in the hiring process. So, in simple terms to explain, imagine you have a robot friend who helps companies pick up the best people for jobs or a camera that recognizes the faces. Sometimes these technologies can make mistakes or treat people unfairly. And that's because they learn from the information they are given. So it is we who is trying to give the information, right? So we have to be careful to avoid a bit unfair or not something which is not good. So in such scenario, we have to be prepared with a well-defined model. That fairness should be there in order to make a good decision, the best decisions out of it. And we also have some and team before going further, there is an attendance sheet which will be dropped in the chat window. Make sure that you'll have done it accordingly, okay? Make sure that you'll have considered that sheet and mark your attendance, okay? So coming to the intellectual properties and authorship. So we are making use of this generative AI. So AI should be considered as an author. The law says that the human has to be the author to get the copyright protection. This means that even though AI can make reality cool stuffs, right? legally. It doesn't count as an author. So things created only by AI might not be protected by the copyrights. So as part of this, we also speak about the potential for the AI generated trademarks and collaborative creative. Some ethical stuff should also be there. Questions arises about the transparency in crediting the AI generated elements. So we should be responsible to use, and ethical considerations are crucial in this evolving field. And we also have some legal and the policy changes. To make things easier, there might be some rules and the best practices that come out. These would help the people use AI in creative projects while still being fair and respecting everyone's right. So using this AI in creative, in like existing, some super existing things, a bunch of interesting challenges about who get credits and how we make sure everything is fair and square. So you can see different examples which are being used by the generative AI, right? So imagine a fancy art auction is happening like you see in the movie. In 2018, there was one of the Christine, some auction is happening in that place. You know what? The painting which you are seeing here, right? It is being taken by the Edmond de Bellamy. So you can see the figure, how much it has auctioned for. It was created by the AI. And someone actually bought it from the whooping, giving this much of amount. This raised a lot of eyebrows and got people thinking at how can a AI be creating different visuals? The art. You can see it is similar to how the people is trying to make an art. So these are some of the real world examples where generative AI is being useful. So AI isn't just about the robots or the scientific stuff. It's also making waves in the art world and even causing some legal headaches for some organizations. So still now we spoke about the introduction to generative AI and generative AI applications. Now let's move on to the generative AI project lifecycle. So imagine generative AI as a magical toolbox full of amazing possibilities. It's like having a super smart computers. Now to make it more magical toolbox, you need a plan for it, a step-by-step guide. That's what this presentation is all about. We are going to walk through the important step of what we call the generative AI project lifecycle means. It's like a roadmap that takes you from thinking up ideas to actually making those ideas happen in the real world. So as part of this, we will be speaking of each and every point that is being mentioned here. This is our agenda for the life cycle. The first comes with the planning and the conceptualization. So let's break down this planning and conceptualizing purpose in a simpler manner. So what can we do? First, we will be trying to identify a problem and an opportunity for it. Start by finding a challenge or a chance to make something better where generative AI can be really helpful. Think about what you want the end result to be and how they can be valuable. Then the step 2 that we can consider is defining what you want. Clearly say what you want your project to achieve. Describe how big it is, what it can't do, and think about what's right and fair in the process. And then goes with your creating a vision for your project. Imagine what your project will look like when it's finished. Think about how it fits into your bigger goals of your group or a company and what people how it will be useful for the people who are there. And then goes for the planning in each stage. So by making use of each step here, you can come up with the complete life cycle of your project. You make sure everyone knows what they are doing. Things happen in the right order, and you are ready for anything that might pop up. It's like planning a big project in the school. You need to know what you are doing, have a clear idea of what the finished project will look like, and be ready for any surprises along the way. This is how the planning should happen when you're working with it. And then goes with the identifying the goals and the scope for it. So when you're working on a project using the generative AI, which is trying to create some new stuff, it's important to start by figuring out exactly what you want your AI to do. Like what's the main goals and the objectives or the purposes for it. And you need to be able to measure how well it's doing that job with specific numbers or criterions. So you should have a complete idea the limits for your particular project. Think about the most important things your AI needs to do and try not to complicate it with too many extra features that might make it confusing and not work as well. Also check out what other peoples have done with the generative AI before. See if there is any already some of the smart solutions that have been created earlier. This way you can learn from what's been done and not waste the time doing on the same thing again. It's kind of like making sure that you are on a right track and not moving away from your wheel. This is how the goals and the scope should be maintained. You should have a clear idea about it, determining the boundaries for your project, along with the conducting a thorough research on existing generative AI solutions. This will try to save lot of time and allows us to maintain a right path without any deviations. So next, we will be speaking about the feasibility analysis. Feasibility analysis, we will check with the data check. Take a look at your data. You need to teach your AI model. Ask yourself if you have enough of it and if that is having a good quality or not. Figure out if you can gather all the needed data on your own, or if you are like you want to have a data from another places. That is the most crucial thing when you're working with your data, or whether you're trying it to get it from your external sources or not. Think about like a computer powered, you are need to some teaching your AI and making it work. Explore the options like powerful computers in the cloud and special hardwares to make things run well and not costly. The cost effectiveness should be maintained based on the specialized hardwares. So the computer stuff should also be maintained when you are having a feasibility analysis. And then goes for the team building. You need to identify the people who know this stuff when it comes to the generative AI, the data science and making the softwares. Building a great team with the right skill is a super important for dealing with the tricky things that come up in this area. So in simpler terms, it's like making sure you have a right ingredients, that is nothing but your data, the right cooking equipments, nothing but your computers, and the right chefs, the experts, to cook up a successful generative AI dish. That is how the feasibility should be maintained throughout your analysis. Now we have the development process. Within this, we are trying to craft some prompts, learn how to create some important or instructions or prompts that should be given to your AI models. These prompts tries to guide the model in generating the outputs you want. You are trying to use different ways of giving instructions or the prompts to see what works the best. So this is like crafting the prompts. Then you have choosing a model. Decide whether you use a existing pre-trained model or create your own. Consider the factors like how well the model fits your task, its performances, and the amount of computer power it requires. Then goes with the iterative approach. Continuous test and evaluation. Along with it, refine your model. This means trying it out, seeing how well it works, and making the improvements accordingly. This flexibility approach helps you to adapt to new challenges and keeps your model getting better over time. So the next goes with the data collection and the preparation. You are getting ready to cook your favorite dish. Okay, some favorite dish of your kind. In the world of AI, before we make something useful like a smart recommendation system or a cool image generator, we need to gather the right ingredients. In our case, we are dealing with the data. So we need to choose a quality ingredient, just like best vegetables for your dish. This means that you need to pick your data that is relevant to what you want to work on your AI. If you are making a recommendation system for the movies, we want the data about the movies only, but not just any data which is having a high quality. Similarly, we have to focus on avoid some bias. So we want a diverse set of data. So our AI doesn't end up favoring one thing over the other. And we need to have a clean process, pre-process process. So before you're trying to cook something, you need to clean your veggies, right? Similarly, we need to make sure that our data is clean. So our AI is trying to prepare a dish that is turning out to be in a great manner. So you need to pick and prepare a data and making sure it's having the best quality, diverse, and up to date. So I think it's already time. So thank you for joining today's session on generative AI applications, and we have moved further also, right? We'll just scratch the surface of what was the generative AI is about. So in the next session, we will go deeper into the life cycle of the generative AI. So stay tuned for more insights. Until then, keep exploring the creative possibilities of AI. Okay, team?